What's up, YouTube? Brad Hoover from Rants here. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. Alright, so I just got done watching Masters of the Universe Revelations Part 2. Now, it took me a while to watch this. I guess I'm a glutton for punishment because I told myself after watching Masters of the Universe Revelations Part 1, I would never watch anything that had to do with Kevin Smith ever again. Sadly, I fell into that trap again, and even more so in Part 2, am I disappointed. Because Part 1, there was still that hope that, okay, they could turn it around. He-Man could still be a big aspect to this series, to this season. And no. They should have never made Part 1 and Part 2 of this. It should have been just get it all out there. It's almost like picking a scab. I know that's kind of like gross in a lot of ways, but that's the way I kind of feel towards this series. I feel like if you're going to do it, like just do it all the way. Don't just keep, getting it halfway off. Just pull it off. Pull it off. Get it out of the way. Get this atrocity that is Masters of the Universe Revelation over and done with, where that no one has to ever think about this series ever again. I don't think anybody's ever going to go back to this. I think this actually ruined Kevin Smith's career in a lot of different ways. It sure ruined it with fans, ruined it with me as well. But where do I begin? Take Skeletor, for instance. Skeletor could have been a really cool character. Really cool character. But what did they do? They made Skeletor like they make all male characters now in almost everything an idiot. They make them an idiot, especially if there's a woman that is next to them. The woman has to be the smart one. They, of course, have to be, the ones that are in power but don't really deserve to be in power because the woman behind them is actually the one that should be in power, evil-lyn in that case. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did with Skeletor. They made Skeletor into a bumbling idiot where that he could have all the power in the world, but yet he could not, for the life of him, get past He-Man. And it just like he couldn't even kill him. Like it was so many. There were so many moments, even during a lot of the fight scenes, that I'm like, this could have easily been over, but it's just almost kind of like he's standing around. He's dwelling on He-Man too much instead of just thinking about his overall power. There's a lot of things that Skeletor did that just pissed me off. I thought the dialogue was also incredibly bad from him. Now, as far as evil-lyn is concerned, I could not believe that at the end of the day, out of all the criticism that they got for Part 1, that they would actually give evil-lyn the sword. I mean, it just blows my mind that Kevin Smith just could not learn his lesson. What is wrong with this guy? Like, how are you going to get up there and tell, say, Clownfish TV and all the critics and everybody that come out saying that, oh, this is going to be a Tila centric series? How could you literally come out there knowing what it was and then telling people, no, it's actually all about He-Man? No, it's not. If as much as what Part 1 was about Tila, Part 2 was about evil-lyn. And it's like there was no room for He-Man at all in this series, which just blows my mind, as it used to be He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Now it's just Masters of the Universe. I mean, that should have been, I guess, a clue as to what they were thinking about doing. But look, there's no way that you're going to get He-Man fans to just completely and totally fall in love with Tila as the main character or evil-lyn as the main antagonist. It's just not going to happen. We want He-Man versus Skeletor. That's just unfortunately how it works. Love it or hate it, that is what He-Man fans want. That is what He-Man fans deserved in this. And unfortunately, it's not what we got in a lot of ways. Now, I've been on record. I'm not the biggest He-Man fan. I like the He-Man series that they did back in the early 2000s. But you know what? I was actually kind of excited about this series when it first, they first, come out and said that they were going to do a Netflix series of it. But now I'm just like, why would I ever watch anything He-Man related again? If this is the direction that they're going to go with it, then I want no part of it. It's just kind of weird. This part two, literally no one cared about it. No one cared about it. Critics didn't even rate it. No one was out there talking about it because at the end of the day, I feel like even critics realized that this was a lost cause. This was not the hill they were going to die on when it came to, feminism, woke politics, woke agendas, all of that. They weren't going to die on this hill. And rightfully so. I wouldn't either. Because this was just a bad, boring series altogether. You take out all the woke stuff, you take out all the Tila stuff, you take out evil-lyn getting the sword, you take all of that out, and this is still an incredibly bad series. It didn't know where it wanted to go with it. It tried. They couldn't even get the backstories right. Like they could not make the backstories for like evil-lyn. When they even did the flashback, they couldn't even get that right. Her parents were flipping going to eat her. I cannot believe that that is the story you're going to. That's why he called her a sewer rat, is because when she was a kid, her parents were starving and they decided to eat their daughter. And then they showed them with the forks going after her. Like, seriously? Like, seriously, that is the direction you're going to go with a serious, or supposedly a serious series. Come on. I feel like Kevin Smith really just phoned it in on this one. Like, he had no idea what he was doing when it come to this series. The writers had no idea what they were doing. You could tell no one on there actually had watched anything He-Man, period. They didn't know what direction to go with this. I felt like they just wanted to throw it out there, and if fans loved it or hated it, I guess they were hoping, well, if it's He-Man related, maybe fans will just, dismiss all the bad stuff about it and just, go with it. And that works sometimes. Star Wars is a good example that it works with, but it didn't work with this one, and rightfully so. Because, like I said, you take out all that other stuff, it's still a bad series. It's not interesting. It's not fun. The characters aren't relatable. The characters aren't fun. Everyone has daddy issues. It just didn't make any sense whatsoever. Adam had daddy issues, which made literally no sense at all. Of course, Tila has daddy and mama issues. Everybody had issues with something related to their parents in this. There was more crying in this series than I've ever seen in any cartoon to date. Like, it was just, it was like just a sad, dreary kind of feeling throughout. And not in a good way, not in a way that you feel for these characters in any way. Just like, where did that come from? Like, it's like, why are we focusing on that? If this show would have focused more on, Adam and Tila, maybe coming together or working together and, taking down Skeletor or evil-lyn at the end, that would have been a lot better way to have gone at this. Had them as equals, but instead what they did was they made Tila uh, the main protagonist, and He-Man was just like a sidekick that was just there to be at the very beginning and to be at the very end. And that was it. He was there simply so that they could say that He-Man was there. That was it. That was the only reason. And then at the end of the day, they still gave it where Teela is more important of a character. At the end of this season, Adam asked her, "Is there even a need for He-Man?" Think about that for 1 second. Is there even a need for He-Man? Now, according to Kevin Smith and the writers of this show, no, there's actually not. But there is no way this show is going to continue. It just can't. Like, it's too bad. It's just awful in so many different ways. There's nothing, it's a bore from beginning to end. The character dialogue is terrible. The character relationships are terrible. When it come to Teela and her friend, I thought they were gonna have like some kind of lesbian experience, but no, that didn't happen. She didn't get with Adam, so I don't exactly know. There was no relationship to care about or to look forward to in any form or fashion in this. It was all just about how do we make Teela the main protagonist while keeping at least He-Man fans somewhat pleased. And they did a terrible job in the end. But as far as the way they did Skeletor, I almost feel like they made him into like an abusive husband in a lot of different ways. And of course, Skeletor is abusive to his minions, but the idea of what they were trying to set up just seemed so absolutely ridiculous. Evil-lyn going from a character that, in the first part that I actually was like, okay, there's some signs that she's, turning good and things along those lines. And then they just went where she just like went full on crazy, even to the point where Skeletor didn't even know where to begin. Like, I mean, that should tell you something. They made Skeletor into nothing but an absolute coward. All the women of the show were the ones that were the heroes. All the men were nothing but a bunch of cowards that didn't really want to do their job. And that's sad. That's sad. That is not. Look, I talk about a lot on this channel wokeness. This new kind of feminism. You don't have to bring down the male characters to make the female characters to bring them up. You don't have to do that. You just have to bring the female characters up to the level of what the male characters are in these male-centric shows. You could have had a show where Teela and He-Man fought side by side together, and she was a hero just as much as he was. No one would have had a problem with that, but that's not what they did. They made He-Man so weak. They made Man of Arms so weak that they had to rely completely and totally on Teela. They had to make Skeletor into nothing but a coward. He gave up all of his power because he wanted to have sex with evil-lyn. Like, that's how stupid he actually was in this. I couldn't even believe that scene that they added that, because that was so just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Kevin Smith, you should be ashamed of yourself for making this. I know I'm hating on him a lot in this video, but it's simply, I feel like it and I mean it completely and totally. Kevin Smith should be ashamed of this work, because he wants to come out here and say he's proud of what he did. He's a liar. He's a liar. There's no way he could have watched this and been like, you know what? I'm happy with what I did here. It was bad. It was bad all the way around. You even take out all the woke feminism moments and all that stuff that they wanted to add into it, and it's still a bad series. Still bad. You could have probably even put He-Man completely and totally in this series, like he was probably supposed to be or should have been, and it still probably wouldn't have been a good series. It was just bad all the way around. The characters were terrible. Dialogue was terrible. The story was terrible. in so many different ways. I mean, in so many different ways. None of the characters were relatable. Um, it was just bad. It was just bad. If I hated the first part, I hated the second one even worse. Because the second one made me realize that they had no direction to go in this series. That it was all a lie. There was no hope for it. I would actually give this a 3 out of 10. That's how bad it was. And I only say a 3 out of 10 simply because I'm trying to think of good parts of it. Um, there really wasn't. There was really, I can't think one moment in this entire series that I was like, I like where they're going with that. I mean, that's bad. Really, it should even be worse than 3 out of 10. It probably should be like a 0 out of 10. Like, it's that bad. I will never rewatch this. I can't even stand to even pass through it on my Netflix. That's how bad it is. But anyways, guys, let me know what y'all think. What did y'all think of part two? Do you felt like it was worse than part one? I think it was atrocious. I feel like it was a million times worse than part one. But just for the simple fact that I felt like at least part one gave us hope because of Kevin Smith's words that we were going to get to see more He-Man. But no, we got to see him dying a lot, and then that's about it. That's it. That was it. So, Kevin Smith, yes, you are a liar. Yes, you built up all this hype. Yes, you condemned all these people as liars. But at the end of the day, you know, you're the liar, and you should get all the flack for it. Anyways, guys, let me know what y'all think down below. And as always, thanks for watching. Y'all take care.